Today we're looking at GMROI and other formulas that deal with inventory measurement in retail environments. Hopefully you've downloaded the handout that I put together, and the first page talks about vocabulary and the different formulas that we will be using as we put our formulas together. They look more intimidating than they are, at least I hope that's how you'll see them. Let's do this first set together, and then you can do the second and third set on your own, and the answers are provided. Don't look at them though. Go ahead and do your figures, and then you can check your figures when you're done. You will have a test on this at a later date. So the first thing we want to do is we want to list the items that are preset figures. So these are figures that we're not going to be calculating for our purposes today. Total sales, cost of goods sold, total assets, and beginning and ending inventory. We're also going to set our turn goal of 4 times. And what that means is that over the term that we're working with, and in this case we're going to be looking at annual figures, so a year, we want our inventory to turn 4 times or once per season. So the first item that we're going to look at is gross profit. It's also called gross margin. And that is gross margin equals TS, so total sales, minus COG or cost of goods sold. So we're going to do equals total sales minus cost of goods sold, and there's our first figure. And you can also see it here. Once again, total assets is a pre-entered number, so we're beginning and ending inventory, so we're ready to move to average inventory. We have 2 numbers to work with, so we are equals, parentheses, and our beginning plus our ending, closing, divided by 2. So to be able to figure this, we take our beginning inventory and our ending inventory and divide by 2. If we were doing this by a quarter, maybe we're trying to get that figure, then we would take 3 months and divide by 3 or something like that, depending upon what it is that your goal is. 5309.5, or in the example we rounded it to 5,310. We've set our turn goal at 4, and we're ready to move on to gross profit percentage. To do gross profit percentage, and I see we have an error here, so we'll fix that real quick. There we go. To do our gross profit percentage, we take, first we want our equal sign, then parentheses, and TS, we're just following along. TS is total sales, minus cost of goods, closing, and then divide by total sales. And then we're going to just adjust so that we are matching. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Another option is, instead of taking these 2 numbers, you could just start with gross profit. I'm showing you this so that you can walk through each item from the basics. Inventory turn, that's the first item that you have on your list, and that equals cost of goods sold divided by average inventory. And our inventory turn rounded to 4, but actually it's not quite there. Inventory turn days, since we're dealing with annual figures, means that we're going to take 365, because that's how many number of days there are in a year, and we're going to divide that by our turn. And that will tell us how many days it takes for us to turn over our merchandise. And in this case, we just want a number. So 103.67, and we always round up, so it would technically be 104 days is what it takes for us to have our inventory sell. So approximately a little over every 3 months. Our GMROI, or GMROI, depending upon how you want to pronounce it, I've heard it both ways, is equals gross profit, or gross margin, same thing, divided by average inventory. And let's unround a bit so that we have a more accurate figure, 7.87. So for every $1, we're having a return of over $7. That's pretty good. Return on investment equals our turn times, remember this one's a multiplication, our gross profit percentage, 2.43. To put this into a percentage, 243.29. Asset turnover equals total sales divided by total assets. And I'm going to remove some of the decimals here. There we go. On our last item, inventory based on turn goal lets us know if we have the right amount of inventory in stock based on where we want to be regarding our inventory turnover. So for this one, equals, open parentheses, average inventory minus, open parentheses, cost of goods sold, divided by turn goal. Make sure that you choose the goal, not your actual inventory turn. You want goal. And then you have two closing parentheses because you had two opening ones, and enter. And that takes us 636.25. So that's how to do each one of the different figures, and I will leave you to be able to do the balance of these sheets on your own so that you will understand. You'll have a test on this later in the term.